Thank you.
And he's got the best T-shirt on of the weekend as well. So he's crazy fast. And of course, that Toyota Supra Toge showdown between Tsuchiya and Under Suzuki, that's worth the price of admission right there, the Toge shootout. All right, we're back on track, the GCG Open class now. A few guys screaming through. We've got the MR2 out there. We just caught the glimpse of that rolling through. And I don't know whether we can take 199. We can. It is Glenn Slender from MR2 Australia.
Slender, one of the two midship Toyotas that are out there in Open. We have Goyenex actually also running the MRS.
Yes, the are we turboed or ASPO that one? We'll have to check. Justin Gaujinks as well. Yeah, Glenn Slender right now. We're following him there on track. Now from the factory, 3S GTE. We've also got our Vinyl Wraps 86 now coming through Armando. So we'll have a look at the times as Slender comes through. And we've got a few out there now, including a few extras. A bit of Pro-Am happening in just a tick. Well, it looks like he's backing it back in. But we've also got Papadatos out there ready to do a flying lap. Erdman as well. And of course, Matthew Erdman, the lucky 60, as we saw roll through. So that's the one that we'll see, the Vinyl Wraps 86. We saw Wright out there as well. Of course, John O'Wright, Wright One Motorsports, the WRX STI. But on track right now, we can see on front of us Matthew Erdman, that lucky 60. It's a BRZ. I do apologise. I called it an 86. I need to call it the BRZ.
It's kind of tough because he's not actually wearing the badges. And from the headlights, you just about say they look the same. Almost as if they've been manufactured in conjunction between Toyota and Subaru, which was crazy. A master stroke, I think.
It is. It's a master stroke. I'd love to gauge the actual total sales between the manufacturers. Do you think Toyota's smashing?
The BRZ was the first car that was sold completely online for the initial launch. You registered and you were sent an email, and that was how you bought your BRZ.
Wow. Well, there we go. And how did that work out for him?
Not as good as the 86.
Yeah, no, well, Toyota just put them in the showrooms and out they went. They were probably, and still are, pretty much a pretty hot car to buy, whether or not you see someone in a stock one or a completely modified one. Of course, the aftermarket's caught up big time, V-Sport. So Slender in the MR2 went minute 43.841. On track now, an absolute fly coming now from John Wright. Now, John O'Wright, it's not his first rodeo around here. It's not his first time attack. And I think we might have had John O'Wright from the beginning here too. So he's really punted the Wright One Motorsport WRX around for many, many years. A very interesting little mono strut right in the middle of the rear wing there. So that's an interesting addition. Of course, you can see a million different applications on how to do a car, whether you're doing a WRX, an Evo, an MR2, an 86, a GTR, doesn't matter. Everyone's just got their own deals on board. And let's just see how he goes. He had put down a minute 45.593, and I doubt that'll stay as his quickest lap, let me tell you. Papadatos is minute 51.862, very consistent. We're still waiting for Gaujinks to come through on his lap with the other MRS. I do believe he's out there on a flyer, and he's from Victoria. So he's had to come around as well. So we've seen Erdman out there. Here comes the flying lap now for the RX-8. Of course, 8 lean. Screams it through for the Rotary fans. Minute 42.695. And looks like he's going to try and continue it on here. And, you know, why not? If it feels good and you've got no one in front of you, that's your session. Go out there and do as much as you can before the car tells you it's not liking it.
An amazing flame show at the back of that RX-8. These things really do love to richen up.
It's a smash carrot. Mozza has invented the smash carrot.
Really?
Yeah.
This is Goyenex out here in the MRS. They've had this car for about 4 years. And they are really out here looking for redemption from last year. I like this. Close enough racing. You can see it on that massive twin element wing on the back. Basically, the ethos of these guys is, something's doing something.
John O'Wright goes minute 43.466, so he has improved. Here comes that amazing MRS, minute 43.066, jumps in front of John O'Wright, and doesn't go to show that doesn't matter what platform you're coming around here in the GCG Open class, just about everything can work to its extent, and none other than last year when we saw a Honda on number one spot, an 86 with a V8 in second, and a very tough R34 GTR third. So 3 different platforms on the podium. All right, this guy, he knows about podiums. When he stands on the top thing, he needs a development application. He's so tall. Gorgeous George down in the pits.
Yeah, we're talking about Civics. I was walking through pit lane and ran into a familiar face. Will Young, obviously, we know you bringing your crazy Civic out here. In the meantime, you've gone to Tsukuba. You're actually the front-wheel drive lap record holder there, and you're back here, but without a car. What's up?
So unfortunately, we had a little incident with our Civic, so we have to rebuild a new one, and that's already started taking place. But yeah, Tsukuba was pretty amazing experience. Literally shipped the car right from World Time Attack last year, and same engine, same transmission package, unloaded in Japan, and got to compete with my great friends JD MR2 and team and Adam Kazmiri, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, Sydney Motorsport Park obviously now is the home of World Time Attack Racing, but Tsukuba is the traditional home. It's the spiritual home of this series, and that's where we get so much of a Japanese influence in our cars. So it must be pretty cool to be the fastest guy ever in a front-wheel drive car around there.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, actually, to think back, like, the program when we started, and, to even come to World Time Attack in the first place was incredible, and have the opportunity to go to Japan and compete and, bring home a record to Canada was absolutely incredible, honestly.
And now you're here with the Tilton crew. You're taking photos over the weekend. You've even got a pit crew pass on here, guys. So this is a previous champion who's working with another team. I mean, obviously you've got a close relationship with these guys and having a bit of fun.
Well, this starts actually back from last year. I went head-to-head with, obviously, Costa and Tilton Evo version 1. And unfortunately, he had an incident, and just being in contact with Costa all year long and watching him rebuild. And I remember a month ago, this car was just, he posted up some pictures, and all it was just a shell in a cage. And it's like, oh yeah, we got 4 weeks to get this car ready to be on the grid. And I'm like, wow, this has got to be crazy. So about a week to go, and I'm like, I don't even know how you guys are doing this. He's like, oh man, like, it's, we're determined to get out here. The Evo V version 2 is going to be out here, and we're going to bring it out and absolutely, kick ass with it. And he's like, please come on out and, join the insanity of World Time Attack again.
Yeah, pretty awesome, isn't it? So Tilton V2, this thing was finished like 2 days ago, so very, very impressive that they're here. Obviously, they're working through some changes. Watch for that to get faster throughout the weekend. But Will Young, good to see you, man. Always a pleasure. And back to you, Diggs.
Thanks very much, gorgeous, and it's so good to see Will Al Young out there, keeping the front-wheel drive platform alive. And yeah, I don't know, someone's going to have a pretty impressive car to go and knock him off at Scuba.
Look, I think in Australia, we just don't have that appreciation for front-wheel drive cars, and maybe it's a mixture of just our attitude and the tracks we've got. Maybe they don't quite suit, but we just don't have enough front-wheel drive insanity on our shores here. We need to get people like Will Al Young back out and see some more action.
Well, we've seen obviously a few. You're forgetting about one called Mighty Mouse, which is sort of retired, which is probably the ultimate front-wheel drive time attack car. Of course it is, and it's in that game grid, which is amazing.
How exciting is that?
It's an iconic car, but yeah, you're right. Front-wheel drive's an amazing thing to prove that you can be just as quick with it. Doesn't matter. And look, even in this category, as we're seeing there, nice little back-in slide there to turn 2. We're back out with our Takashi Oi now from Leg Sport. So here we are, Takashi Oi from Leg Sport in the RX-8. A little bit of drift influence there into turn 2, and it's good to see that he's now getting a lap out. But have a look at the timing already for GCG Open. It's 28.21 for Shields. Longo's 28.736. So a couple of Skylines and then Ewan. So it's Nissan 123, minute 29.174. Bates just outside the top 3 with a minute 39.49.
Have a look at that. Position 7 and 8. It is the big matchup of Open. Tsuchiya and Yamada locked together. Tsuchiya just having the edge with a 134.89 for Yamada, a 135.49.6. Only because I've been chatting to him throughout the course of the last couple of days. Liam Hooper just outside that All Japan 7-8 battle too. Keen to see how that Car Mods Australia car goes.
I'm enjoying watching Takashi Oi there in the Leg Sport RX-8 because he's really got that he's backing that thing into the corners there. The car seems very, very neutral, and if anything, could break into drift any time he probably wanted. But it's doing well. Another one of our international visitors that just wanted to come and be a part of World Time Attack.
I'm interested to see where he's going to go with this. If he's going to try and do another flyer, or if he's going to back this one off and cycle down.
It'd be interesting to see because the way that he sort of, you may be misled to think that his time's going off, things sliding around, but maybe that's his style. Some guys are fast that way. Minute 42.151, he's already gone minute 41.504. So look, he's definitely not. He hasn't been put to shame there. He's actually quite relevant with all the numbers that are going out there. In fact, he's quicker than guys like Slender and Wright with that minute 41.504 as his best lap. So it's he's definitely not mucking around with that car.
Go your next up on screen in that MRS. This thing is an absolute weapon. So much carbon. Courtesy of carbonplusoz.com.
Yes.
Get down there if you do have the opportunity. Go and have a look as we see Papadatas back out in that BMW two-door. It's an aggressive bit of kit. Very GT car.
It is very much this, very much that way. But when you have a look at the runs by Papadatos, minute, well, it says here, minute 25.551 and minute 51.42. I believe the minute 51.52. The Garmin leaderboard now for the GCG Open class. Have a look at that top 10. Brad Shields, Matt Longhurst, Rob Ewan, Nick Bates, Steve Johnson. Look at those names already. Mark Rundle, Kiichi Tsuchiya. Look at those names. Tarzan Yamada, Liam Hooper, and Matthew Erdman. That is our top 10 so far in the GCG Open class, and I'm sure there's the odd 10th or 100th to be shaved off those by the time we get to our final sessions come tomorrow afternoon. That's right, it's Friday here in beautiful Sydney, and this is the one thing about World Time Attack. It's a Friday, Saturday, so it already feels like we're into the weekend, J-Mac.
How cool is this? Like, this is the first time I've seen World Time Attack Challenge in full flight, and the hype, it has definitely lived up to it. We're going to go down to Amy. Ant Shaw did say this morning that his goal was a mid 1 minute 30. When you're running 147s, there's still a bit of movement before you get into that sweet spot.
Maybe they will just do all the spray tomorrow and see what's left, I'm sure it'll handle it. And of course, you're allowed that in these categories with your power adders. Now here comes this fantastic MRS.
Go your next. On his flyer, you can hear him as he comes on into Armando. And it is just an incredible car. Mid-engine and balanced as you like. No yawing, no real pitching fore and aft in this thing. Into turn 2 now, and he's going to come up on some traffic. You can see that pale line on our track. That looks like the remnants of Tarzan Yamada's oil slick that we have already cleaned up, so it poses no danger. You may occasionally see puffs of dust and spray coming up, but nothing to be alarmed about as he goes up the inside of Papadatas. The MRS looks like it's hard to tell if he's on a cooler after that first section. As we check him out, he's now into segment 2. And that MRS just looks so cool in that carbon fibre. We're going to go down to Toshi. Toshi,
did some overseas. I saw you're at the Suzuka 10 Hour recently, so this is not something that's completely foreign to you, but certainly a lot faster than what you're used to driving.
That's it, yeah, exactly right. Pretty much about the same amount of aero, I reckon, as a GT car, maybe a little bit more, but yeah, obviously probably 600 horsepower more. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so more horsepower. We're on obviously the Yokohama treaded tyre, which used to a slick, and then more aero. So it's pretty awesome. I mean, but the car itself, I mean, handling. Give me some feedback. Is it understeering? Is it a bit loose? Is it nervous? Is it comfortable?
Well, at this stage, the car is pretty balanced. It's awesome. So we haven't sort of had a good crack at it yet, but I think we've got a good car going into tomorrow. So looking forward.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So open class leader here, Brad Shields, obviously just warming up. So watch out, guys.
I tell you what, it is Comedy Central down there in the Extreme GTR pits.
Australia, mate. Just the larrikin, the larrikinism.
World Time Attack, just serving up the memories.
Oh, how good's that?
This RX-7 turning laps out here on track, but someone to really look out for, and he's gone to another big number. Anthony Shaw in the LS-powered Mazda RX-8 with a 1 minute 43.82. You have a look at his times last year. 2018 saw Shaw finish in 17th spot with a 1:46.55. He has smashed it.
Did they do the V8 swap between last year and this year?
They did indeed.
Okay, so it's worth 3 seconds.
And they are running the nitrous kit as well.
So there you go, 3 seconds.
Whoa!
He's put
Talking
it around.
about RX-8.
He's put it around there. Of course, Takashi, I don't know, did we double enter you into the drift? I don't know. But Takashi's son, trying to get the power on early there out of 2. It's very hard not to do that. If you're really on early on the apex, that does have a little bit of off camber there, where if you don't be careful getting it on. That's why you see a few guys hit the apex late there. They'll actually close that fulcrum up and make that a wider arc to get the power on. You coming close there, that arc coming out's a lot sharper. sharper and it just threw the car around. But it's very good to see that it must be just instilled in every Japanese driver that you just must have that drift quality. You just must have that drift element just built into your driving. I mean, drifting basically has come out of cars that aren't in control, literally, isn't it? Okay, look at that. Is that a samurai sword
bonnet stand?
A hood stand.
That is awesome.
That's the attention to detail. Again, if we ever had to judge a show and shine, you'd give it to that, just for that attention to detail.
We're talking about the LS swapped Mazda RX-8. This is it on screen right now. Anthony Shaw. And he should be well and truly cycling down after his 1 minute 43.829.
He'll be on the spray right here, no doubt about it. He'll be on the spray. Minute 45.426, so maybe off the spray, that one. But you'd say if he's done that, the PB just before on the recent lap, yeah, he's given it the kit, no doubt about it. And I hate to be the guy that promotes the idea of LS swapping anything, but there's a beautiful example, because we don't need to really talk about it in circuit racing or anything around a track about the benefits of an LS swap. But there you go, right there. Okay, here we go. Takashi Oi from Leg Sport.
Here we go. Watch this as we come on into this left-hander.
It's late there anyway.
Popped it down a gear, and the car has just rotated quite quickly, I must say, Chris.
Yeah, they're not, as much as you look at them, they're not a really big wheelbase when you have a look at the cars, and they can swap ends quite easily. I mean, this is the same deal, but it is a mid-engine car, so it's a very impressive car to see run. And this MRS, he's gone up in the sector. Early sector there, but let's see what he does to finish it off, J-Mac.
Goyenex will cross the line as he slots through for a 1 minute 43, some almost 2.5 seconds off his PB as he cycles down, not attacking Amundo anywhere near as quick as what we have seen this MRS. The close enough racing entry, something's doing something.
When he was going on the throttle, the car didn't just swing out. It was a nice gradual slide, which allowed him to power out of every corner. And there was more power. So right now, these two are also involved in the drift series too, and you're driving and you're judging. So they're very busy people, but are we going to see more performance out of the car today?
We're hoping to. I mean, Sashish just touched briefly on getting the power to the ground, and that's something we've worked really closely with M-Tron this year, the torque-sensitive traction control, and obviously he also mentioned the braking as well, so that wouldn't be possible without the Bosch Motorsport ABS system, of course, and that's something that we've really finely tuned this year, and obviously to see that time today out on track, it's everything's just come together. We're just over the moon.
That is awesome. And so throughout the day also, it's just going to be very busy. He'll be driving the 86. He'll also be in the Supra Toge competition and also judging the drift competition. So make sure if you see him out there, grab him. He's great with the fans, and it's a very rare opportunity, even for the Japanese people, to see him live like this. And we're so thankful to have him as a regular. じゃあ今日は忙しいと思うんですけど、最後にちょっと一回一日のコメントを。
いやもう本当に今日ね WTAC 来てくれた皆さん、テレビでご覧になっている皆さんが楽しんでくれたらいいと思います。
So everybody that came out to the WTAC event and everybody watching on the live stream, he's so happy to have you with us, and you just have a good time this weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Toshi. And look at Bo Yates and the Drift King. It's just part of our family here in Australia. Moz joining me for a little bit more commentary. The GCG Turbochargers Open Category Session 2 out there. GCG Turbochargers, 40 years young. GCG Turbochargers Australia and Japan's focus is performance, turbocharger and tuning parts for all forms of motorsport, established in 1979 when I was only 9 years old, supplying the industry quality brands such as Garrett, Borg Warner, Deutschwerks, Ryco and many more. Having been involved with the World Time Attack event for 10 years, GCG Turbos has forged a close relationship with our local and Japanese drivers, teams and fans. They proudly wear the GCG decal on their livery. It's absolutely everywhere. In the World Time Attack history book, GCG equipped teams can boast a collection of class winners and record-setting achievements over the last decade. gcg.com.au. Mozza joining me on the microphone as we take in this fantastic open category as our second group come through for a bit of a fang. And Mozza, what do you think?
Well, a couple of PBs coming out now. The track has come back slightly after that oil down this morning. A 130 PB there for Steve Johnson, 130.26. So they'll be happy. That car, as yesterday, a lot lower and handling a lot better too for Stevie Johnson. But I saw PBs come through in most classes so far, including Pro Class, of course, that 19.2 coming through there for Bart Moore, and that's pretty crazy indeed. So PB's time, it is the best time of the day. This afternoon we've got the shootout. That's going to be the next best time when the air cools down slightly as well.
Yes, no, of course. Glennie Slender just came through and did his P, as you said, Moz, another PB. Minute 42.261.
Yeah, they're coming through flat out at the moment, but very shortly we're going into our lunchtime. The midday madness coming up, and I was just sitting down up at the top there, and I noticed a guy in a grey race suit. So that doesn't look like a normal driver. It was Matt Hall, and he's got his plane here at lunchtime. He's going to put on a show for us.
We've seen a lot of planes out there. We'll put it this way, the amount of engineering and what we've got with 4 tyres attached is pretty impressive. And then you see the guy brings his plane. Not to be outdone, Matt Hall brings the plane out, of course. An absolute top gun when it comes to the Red Bull Air races.
Current world champion.
And he's the current world champion.
Indeed.
Incredible what they do with these things. It's one of the best shows you can see live. Not that we ever have, but the way Red Bull covers it's incredible as well. And he's here for a good reason. I think we're doing a race a bit later on.
I'm not sure whether they actually pulled that one off with cams. I don't think what happened. So,
yeah, well, normally they
here he is.
Car versus car is great, but car versus plane is probably pushing the rule book a little bit too tight there. Yeah, it's not every day that you turn up on the tilt tray with your race plane.
Yeah, you're dead right. Not just any race plane. That's the one that he won the World Championship in. That's also the one that he clipped the water with. You might remember about 2010.
Yes.
Clipped the water. Got a go home free card out of that one somehow. But yeah, the Lycoming 8.7 litre engine there, operating at 2,900 RPM. So not a big revving engine. And 350 horsepower. He'll be hitting 500 kilometres an hour, about 9 metres off the deck here today. So it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Apparently he landed it here. So what do you do to bring your race plane? I thought it was on a tilt tray, like he brought it here that way, but he landed the thing here.
How long do you reckon it took him to come from Newcastle?
Oh, 12 minutes.
18.
Was it 18? But there we go. So you've asked all the right questions.
I have indeed. So we'll get a bit more into that when we come up in the lunchtime break, because that is after our pit walk. Don't forget the pit walk. You can have a close-up, get up close and personal with the superstars of Time Attack. And that'll be happening on pit lane just after we have the Flying 500, which will be up in the first part of our midday mayhem.
Glennie Slender on screen right now, the MR2 Australia. Was it AW102 this one? No, it's the SW102, I think. The S-Series engine in it, the 3S engine. All right, so there's Sachia Sun's ride getting pushed back in there, the Bo Yates Toyota Genuine Parts Machine. Here's this thing for Papadakis, of course, that amazing BMW V8 Z, what are we? I think it was a Z4, yes it was. Glennie Slender, not too many of our MR2s out there, although we did have Justin Gayanex out there in the MRS. And this time we're having a focus. Look at that, picking the left-hand front wheel up. They're all launching themselves out of turn 6 there, aren't they, Moss?
Yeah, certainly there's a lot of equipment to come through there the way they are, but mid-engine this car, you see it's slightly getting offline sideways. Well, they're a weird sort of feeling, but good polar moments. So the car handles well and centre of gravity. So traditionally they're pretty well a race car with the engine in the back, but going well. Anyway, it's the open class at the moment, the GCG open class. And they're becoming... Whoa! Get a ticket to the drifting tonight, son.
Glennie Slender, and I suppose it's called the cameraman's curse, isn't it? If you keep the camera on you long enough, they're going to capture your mistake, aren't they? And put it this way, Glennie Slender, if you had any questions about how many laps do I reckon I've got left on my tyres, that might be the answer right there. Georgie, down in the pits, mate, what have you got for us?
From one wild man to another, I'm here with John Papadakis, one of the sort of open class privateers, I guess. And you're here with this awesome GT3 inspired Z4, you know. Tell me a little bit about it. You built this yourself, right?
Correct, yeah, we built it from the boot. I guess the chicken shed, as we tell everybody, started off from an original Z4 shell and migrated over time, got the GT3 body kit, I guess shoehorned the 5-litre V8 out of a 2001 BMW. We've been playing with a lot of electrical problems over the last 2 or 3 years. Got that sorted, and today we've got an overheating issue. So we've probably never driven it as hard as what we have recently. So I guess it's like anything, when you build something new, you're always going to, I guess, push it to its nth and its elements. The car was never designed to do what we built it to do. It's designed to, chauffeur you around Sydney, not to run around Sydney Motorsport Park. But I mean, the car is fantastic, and it's something a little bit different. It's always about the Japanese cars at World Time Attack. You know, we've decided to bring something out of Europe, something out of BMW, something different, and that's what we're all about, being different.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. And you know what? You're the sort of the spirit. This is in the spirit of Time Attack, right? You build it yourself. Yeah, I reckon you're probably getting the most value for your entry fee. I reckon you've done more laps than anyone else I've seen today.
For us, it's about just doing laps after laps after laps and just getting more comfortable in the car as we go. I'm quite a tall guy, and as you can see from the Z4 chassis, it is quite tall, like George, trying to shoehorn ourselves into a little chassis as well. It's always a challenge too. But yeah, it's about getting the miles up, getting exposure for the Barco brands, the Engler, the HAR lighting, all the guys who supported us after the 2 or 3 years. It is tough, and it's tough to find sponsorship, as everybody knows. And for us, it's about getting the brand awareness and getting some exposure for the team, myself and everybody else, and all the guys and girls that come out and do all the hard work. Because for me, it's great. I sit in the car, I cruise around, you know, I do the easy job. These guys come in, got to change the tyres and do all the hard yards, and I'm just sitting back looking good.
Mate, I need to get this guy off the camera because he's going to take my job before too long. But good job, John. Thanks, George. Good to see you, mate. Back to you guys.
Oh, Georgie, I'd love to come and look at your chicken shed one day. If that was sitting in the chicken shed, I want to come and look at your chicken shed. It's not often that Z4's in the chicken shed, so or come out and have a look. While we were talking to you in there, we had, of course, the 86, the BRZ Lucky 60 of Matthew Erdman pull out a PB, minute 38.302. Boss, look what's just about to come out very, very soon as part of our midday mayhem. Again, the Flying 500, thanks to Turbo Smart. These two guys, maybe we're going to call it the Smoking 500, because that's all they did. We didn't even get their speeds, I think, because they were too slow.
You got some speeds from yesterday, though, Dick?
We do have some speeds, and we will bring everyone up to date with those as we start to get everyone lined up as they corral themselves. But right now, the Ant RX-8, and again, nowhere else in the world do you take your 20B out that you had last year and put an LS in it. Australia's pretty much LS the world, Barra the world. That's what we're seeing to tell everyone at the moment. And out there now, we see that MRS from Justin Gayanex, that amazing MRS. So there's so much automotive visual stimulation here this weekend. Not only what we're seeing on track on the Bosch Motorsport live stream, but all that stylised show and shine. That's where the punters get to bring their personal vehicles out, put them on display, and your mind will be blown about what is in there. And as we heard even from Papadakis, he said it's all about JDM, you know, we're about Euro, but look what's happened the last few years. A guy called Rob Povestek said, yeah, I'm not going to come here with a JDM. I want to do a Porsche, and the rest is history. Let's have a quick look at the GCG Turbo Open Class Leaderboard. No movement, Mozza, in the top 5 so much, but look at the bottom half there. We did see Kiichi Tsuchiya move up into a 34.291, the best for that car ever, but it's still Shields, Longhurst, Newham, Stephen Johnson, Nick Bates, Tsuchiya's son, Mark Rundle, Tarzan's son, Liam Hooper, and Nathan Morecambe. Minute 35 for Nathan's the best that they've brought out so far with the car, and I bet you there's still a little bit more left in that. But how about that, folks? Nissan 1, 2 and 3 so far. So there you go, Nissan fans.
So throw a fourth in there as well.
Well, let's throw fourth in there. Let's throw a Nissan V8 powered 86 in fifth. There we go. Nissan 1 to 5. Nissan somewhere in there, 1 to 5 anyway. Oh my God, Amy, you've got Mozza's biggest fan, Matt
especially
Hall.
wide because it's made for a boxer engine.
Ah, yes.
So it's kind of nice because V8s fit right in there.
Yeah, well, that one certainly does, and I suppose I just wish that V-Sport, when they made it, I always wish, and I suppose you're the same when you're engineering something, you say, should I make some jigs for this so I can make more of them? Do you think of reproduction in engineering when you do something?
Yeah, if that's the goal. I'm
goal.
Sure there are. I believe there are engine swap kits for the 86.
Is there already out there some of those swap kits there? Obviously, 2JZ's been in them. We've now seen an LS1 in one here today, and VK56. Well, certainly haven't seen any of those until now.
Yeah, the guys at RSR Japan, they have a Coyote engine in one.
Is that right?
That's right.
Wow, there we go. So the old 86. Sometimes don't you think that's a nice little signal back to the manufacturer to say, oh, maybe you should have considered something like this instead of what you did in that. But look, it was an amazing little deal between Toyota and Subaru to do a that together. And I suppose that's the future of the car industry. We're going to see some partnerships come in. And then for Toyota to do that one with BMW, that came left of field for me.
Yeah, I think that did for everyone.
and when, as we've raved on before about the new Supra, is that, timing chain in on the back of the engine, which I've never seen before. Have you ever seen that before?
No, I have not. That's definitely something different.
Well, if you check out what Steph Papadakis did with, he bought a brand new one and pulled the motor apart. Watching his video was amazing to get on the inside of some of these things. Engineering is one of the things that I think draws a lot of people here. They want to see nice cars. For some people, it is just the way the whole car sits and looks. For other people, it's how it all goes together. But I do love a good engine swap.
Yeah. You mentioned Steph Papadakis and the Z4 engine. I'm sorry, the Super engine.
Yes.
They're actually dynoing that over at Mountoon, USA.
Are they really? So he's opened it up. He's starting to hot rod it, and let's see what happens on it. I'm sure we'll be seeing it on the YouTube universe sometime in the future. All right, let's go back to the track here in the Bosch Motorsport live stream. Having a look down our list here of the GCG Turbo Open class, 40 years young. And out there, we still see flying through there now. Takashi Oi, Leg Sport RX-8, comes through for a flying lap. His best so far has been a minute 41.098. Erdmann, entrant number 33, of course. Matthew Erdmann, lucky 60, went through for a minute, previous best, minute 38.302. Jason Dorrington just went through for a flying lap. And the Big Time Attack RX-7 went through minute 38.302 previously. So they're all going to roll through and start racking up some laps. Let's go down to George. We've got Steve Johnson down there. We want to know what happened, George.
Yeah, they say, guys, that all a racing driver's good for is to stuff a perfectly good racing car. And Stevie J obviously had an issue out there, mate.
Yeah, mate, it's coming over turn 3 down the hill into turn 4. It's really bumpy, and it's been hopping a lot, and you got a lot of boost and you got a lot of load and a lot of energy going through the driveline there, and it looks like it's maybe done something like busted an input shaft in the gearbox. So as soon as it come down, it sort of had just a little noise, and basically we're still in gear with no drive. So we're not really exactly sure, but my feel from my grey hair experience, it's probably an input shaft, because we just basically had no drive from that and no drive in any of the rear wheels at all.
Yeah, a bit of a victim of track circumstance. You guys have been widening up to, you're on for a 27, I know, a bit earlier on in the weekend, and then caught some traffic or a red flag or something, and you guys have just been sort of setting yourself up for that shootout lap, obviously, and a bit of a shame to be crawled there at the end.
Mate, it is, yeah. We were just really going out in that session to do a little bit of testing and try a few different setups, and it actually felt quite good. Even on the old tyre, then it felt pretty good. So just let a set of greens there, so maybe that's where we're going to have to leave for practice before we get back here next year.
Sounds good, mate. Well, shame to see Stevie out before the end of the day, but if they've got a part, they'll fix it, but these things are so custom, that's probably not quite likely. So back to you, Diggs.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, those are the things, and that very well could be the correct diagnosis there from Steve. And as he said, that grey hair experience comes in. He'd know more than anyone. That's like, hang on, I've got nothing inside this, nothing inside the driveline that's working. Just coming through on the main straight was in Lightin Racing Team. The Mazda RX-8, he's on a flyer. Erdmann's out there, Slender's out there, Dorrington's out there. No one's improved. Laps from Slender, minute 43. Erdmann, minute 59.586. So these guys, there's the Vic Time Attack car out there through past Armando, now into turn 2. I'm not seeing too many green things lined up. Mind you, what we're seeing here from Matthew Erdmann, the lucky 60 BRZ, he's up in the first sector there. So maybe someone's going to peel off their best lap times in this session. It's so hard to do it, Eric, isn't it? And as we know, it's as much as it's all about one perfect lap, it's a little bit like a marathon with a sprint in the middle, isn't it? It's like we're asking you to run all day, but we also want you to sprint as well. So, I mean, it's just it's a battle of attrition. It's how long can you keep that stuff together, and horsepower sometimes isn't your friend.
Right. You want one perfect lap and then one more perfect lap the next time. Right.
That's so we should get the T-shirts. It says one perfect lap and then says one more perfect.
That's right.
And it'll be good to see it happen if it indeed does. Coming through the main straight, we're in the background, Anthony Shaw of the Ant Racing LS-powered RX-8. Goes a minute 46.503. Actually, that's the car I was thinking of. An RX-8, it wasn't an 86 that has the LS in it, but I'm sure there's an LS in an 86 somewhere. I'm sure of it. It's got to be. There's an LS in everything, by the way.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure that it is. Now, I haven't done the research on that, but I reckon it's true. All right, flying through there now, the car entrant 30 being John Wright, Right One Motorsport. That's the, is that right? Is that 30 or 33? We'll have to just check it out. No, that's Erdman. That's Matty Erdman. So coming through Armando into turn 2 now, the vinyl wraps car screaming in behind him. So these guys, minute 37 there for Erdman. Actually, there you go. We talk about can anyone improve in this session. It was Erdman. Minute 37, 9:41. That puts Erdman, where is he on the list? Geez, he is off the, he's out of the top 10 with a 37, but it has been his best lap of the weekend. So, look, you've got to get some benchmarks somewhere towards next year, and this time of the day, we're looking at what's going to happen in anticipation in the next couple of hours. We're also going to look at, actually not even that, but we're also holding in anticipation what we're going to see in 12 months' time. It's mouth-watering to think that we've got guys lining up to want to come to this event and run. All right, here we go. This is the LS RX-8. Let's have a listen. Let's have a listen. Yes, for all those purists out there that would expect, you know, a Renaissance or a 20B in it or whatever, that's an LS. Hey, and listen to it rumble. He's running some nitrous through it this weekend, I do believe. Apparently he's going to go from a 100 shot to a 200 shot, and he's just on a cool down lap there now. So I think it's actually probably got a T56 or something in it. Not a bad little setup there. But yeah, the purists would hate that. But you know what? If my car offends you, you can. That's your opinion. That seems to be anywhere in the world that guys go against the grain. And as you said, a Coyote in an 86, that sounds pretty mouth-watering. But I don't think there's too many 86 purists out there that go, "Oh, don't do it." Everyone's doing it. There's not too many people out there pushing. Mind you, it's surprising when HKS pursued the engine when they did their flagship 86.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you too?
It does.
That they pursued that, because everyone will think, well, is there more power than what we've ever seen out of Super 86? They were making big power out of them, but really at the end of the day, when other platforms fitted, if anything, that Boxer engine probably not dynamically as efficient as some other engine transplants you could put in it. But hey, who am I to judge? I'm not the engineer, Eric Sue. You are the engineer. So you can prove all those series probably wrong with the right results, with a few tests down the road. All right, on track now, entrant 30, John Wright, Right One Motorsports. The WRX STI has gone minute 43.466 as his best so far this weekend. I think all these guys want to do is by the end of the weekend either go as fast as they've been all weekend in the last sessions, or go better than they did last year. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to come every year and go faster, but that's not always the case, is it?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys too, they just want to have fun. This is a great event to have fun at.
Yes, I love it as well, and I love when you can look down this little list and you see how many laps everyone's had. Shaw coming down the main straight just went through. He's done 36 laps of possible fun. 36 laps of fun. I'm looking for higher laps than that. Gaynex just came through with that little MRS. He's done 32 laps around here. So as you talk about that FUN word, that's what it should all be about still. Because if you're not having fun, you just got to pack it away and you can't come back. If you have to be here, well, I don't think you're here for the right reasons. If you feel you had to be there and you begrudgingly do everything and you hate it and you kick in the door and piece of crap or whatever like that, walk away for a while, put a cover over it. All right, some word coming through from race control that, look, their diagnosis has come through that Stephen Johnson will not be in the shootout, that they cannot fix that. That is too big a job to do a thrash on. So, look, he's got to wait there with bated breath. He's in 4th spot. So, look, he can't really be removed there unless we've got Morecambe then probably now into the shootout. Bates goes from 5th to 4th for the shootout. But Bates still has to, in the shootout, go quicker than minute 32.67 to kick Johnson out of the 4th position. So the Superlate shootout only comes into effect as far as positions are concerned if you go quicker than the guy above you. So you can still be out, like, you know, we've got Garth Walden out in the Tilton Evo in third, but he'll still be on the podium even though he can't make the shootout, unless someone beats that time that he already set today. So, but it's great to see it if someone does it. We saw it at the very first Super Lap we did 10 years ago. We saw only one guy out of all of that jump from 5th to 4th, but that was an amazing thing to see because, again, it just goes to show when the pressure was on, the intensity was there to say, right, no more laps you've got. This is the one lap to do it in. So that's unfortunate for Junior Johnson that you can not come out for the Super Lap shootout, but at least know that 4th in the class of 2019 is nothing to be sneezed at. Remember last year he came in 5th. So there you go. Let's look at the half full glass and say, well, at least you're 4th this year, not 5th like last year. Yep. Let's have a look at. He's backing it in here. I love it. Is that Takashi? Takashi's son. Takashi's on Leaderboard. Have a look at some of that thing. I'm curious. Is that traditional 13B or is that a Renaissance? That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because everyone seems to be kicking the Renaissances out.
Well, there's reason
going
for
back
that.
to the traditional 13B, like your FD engines, you know, which they reckon was the very best engine that they ever did out of the 13Bs.
Yep.
Anything from FC onwards were pretty well used. And of course, as I've clued you up before, in Australia here we have 3 manufacturers that do all billet plates for rotary engines. So you just about get yourself a billet 13B or a 20B here in Australia, just like you can get billet 2J and 4Gs and SRs. We do a lot of aluminum in this part of the world, and I did make sure that I made the translation from aluminium.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, aluminium to aluminum. Yes, and it looks like it's spelt incorrectly in America as well with aluminum. For some reason we got IUM. I don't know. Maybe the dictionary people got it wrong. All right, Takashi goes minute 45, 8:04. Here comes Slender in that MR2. Had much experience with the MR2s in the past, Eric? Or?
Oh, a long time in the past.
Really?
Not recently, but...
Ever owned one?
No, I did not.